everybody. This is Barb King from King Dog Sports Club, and today I have Arleigh Bell with me from K9 Fun and Games, and she is here to talk about Happy Ratters.
One.
So, before we start, Arleigh, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you?
Well, my name's Arleigh. I reside in the Kamloops area at the moment, originally from the Lower Mainland, and I have two dogs. I have Treble, who is soon to be an 11-year-old Nova Scotian Duck-Toller Retriever. She's perfect in absolutely every way. And then I have at the other end of the scale, my boy, Champagne Blues, who's also perfect, but he's a typical boy. He just likes to get himself into all sorts of mischief. But he has such a beautiful disposition that it doesn't really matter. So those
Nice.
are my two dogs. And then I also have seven rats, and they're all named after different coffee components. So I have coffee, I have half and half, I've got brown sugar, I've got vanilla, I have ice, I have latte and mocha. And
Nice.
those are my boys, and they range between a year and a half and 1 year old. They're two different litters. And so we're a pretty happy, traveling, easygoing group.
Cool. Where did you grow up?
I'm originally from the Lower Mainland, from Burnaby, BC.
Nice.
Moved around the Lower Mainland a fair amount, last in the Langley area, and then moved up to Kamloops in the late fall of 2017.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, did you grow up with pets?
Yes, we usually had a dog anytime I can remember. We called them miniature Shelties, but I think there really were Shetland sheepdogs. And a number of them, because they chased cars back in those days. We didn't have a lot of fenced-in yards, etc. So a few of them found their demise with taking on the cars. But I know at the lake house, they used to run up and down the water and bark at the waves and yap at them all the time. They were very loud, smaller dogs. And then as the dogs kind of turned over, then I had cats, and eventually I had both. And now I have rats. So, yeah.
So, what made you decide you wanted to work with animals?
I think back in the beginning, I've always had a connection with animals. So for me, it just kind of fell into place. It went from catching frogs in the summer up in the Okanagan to, fish and kittens and dogs. And back in the day, I mean, I'm a bit older now. So originally back in the day, dogs were part of your family, but they didn't really go a lot of places with you. And times have definitely changed, which is lovely. They're still part of the family, but they're not really a pet as much as they are just part of your family membership. And so, my thing for sure is if my dogs can't come, chances are really good I'm not coming either. My dogs are super spoiled, as it should be in a canine world. So for me, it's just been a really good fit. I spent a lot of time in my young adulthood working with people with physical challenges and riding horseback and just different components. So animals have always been part of my world. Yeah.
Cool. And so, what dog made you get into the world of dog sports and why?
Oh, I would have to say it's my girl Treble. I had a Dalmatian named Pebbles long before her, and then I had a rescue named Jazzman, who challenged me in many, many ways. He was just a big shepherd Roddy Cross, and he just didn't know how to be a dog, honestly. He never walked on a leash. He wouldn't potty when you walked him. He would always go on cement. It took a long time for us to bond together, but he was super protective of my father, who lived with me at the time, which was really cool. So when my dad passed, eventually I got Treble, and she's actually named after my father. It's his initials together. That's how I spell her name. So
Cool.
she will always be my heart dog. She has a very special place in my heart, in my world. And so I got her, and we started conformation because that was kind of the thing to do. Yeah, we hated it. It was long. It was not much fun. It was a lot of hot dogs and, just the skin off my knuckles because she was a puppy trying to be, in the show ring and the practice. And we went to classes and we did all the practicing, but she just didn't seem to enjoy it. Like it just wasn't a fit for us. And then a colleague said, "Hey, there's this new sport come out, blah, blah, blah. Here's a contact. You may want to try it." So we started nose work and in over by the border in the Delta area. And Treble absolutely loved it. It was just her thing. She enjoyed searching. She had a smile on her face. She was always willing to go, willing to play, etc. So I would say Treble got me started in dog sport, but Blues has been the one that has got us out of just a handful of things like agility and nose work. I do a
Right.
gazillion different sports now, which if you'd asked me even 5 years ago, I would have said, yeah, no, we're only doing this. So it's been a really good challenge. But more importantly, it's been a great learning opportunity because each dog is different for each sport and it taps into a different part of their mentality and how they think and function. So Treble is a top-notch scent detection dog. She loves nose work. It's certainly her thing. Blue started when he was 8 weeks old. He likes it. He'll do it for me, but it's just not his thing. He really wants to do things that tap into his natural prey drive, and he's got a very strong, high prey drive that is within control for him now. In the
Right.
beginning, it wasn't. So it's been a juggling. When you say which dog kind of got me started, I would have to say both of them. Yeah.
Cool. So what all sports do you do with them now?
Oh Lord. Well, we do scent hurdling for treble. We've done CKC scent. We do pretty much all the organizations now for nose work or scent detection. We do barn hunt. We do canine working games for scent detection. We're doing happy ratters. We do dock diving, agility, rally, hoopers, tricks. They both are totally into tricks. Tri-ball, and then we do some tracking as well. So we've gone
Yeah.
from something very little and basic to big. My dogs play in agility, but I don't compete them in all those sports. It's
Right.
mainly just to give them a variety in our week-to-week activities. And they
Cool.
love to swim. They would swim all day if you'd like.
I see that on your Facebook. Wet dogs.
There's nothing better than going out into the lake, over my head, obviously over theirs, and swimming, and these dogs just freely swim around you and they want to stay connected, and you're out there for half an hour, 40 minutes. It seems like a blink, and then you come back in, and people, like my summer home is next to a public access, and people actually come down and sit on the bench and watch us swim in the morning. They say, "I just love watching you swim with your dogs." And I'm like, it's the best feeling ever. Not that people are watching, but that I'm so connected that my dogs just want to hang out in the water with us. And so for me, that's the perfect day. Coffee on the dogs swim, we have breakfast, and we all swim together. And when anybody visits, it's the same thing. They'll come and swim with us, and they're very content, but they're super happy. And most importantly, at the end of the day, they're very tired.
Yeah.
They're knackered. So it's perfect.
Nice. Excuse me. So what are your credentials now for training, judging, hosting? I know you got a
Wow.
lot.
That's a really good question. Well, I'm a certified nose work instructor, so that's through the National Association Canine Scent Work in the States. I've been certified with them, I think, since about 2014, 15. And I have to do continuing education units and credits every year to keep my certification up. So I follow all those. So there's always ongoing information coming from there. And then I'm a host and a judge for the new Association of Scent Work in Canada. So that's the Canadian Detection Sport Association, which is fantastic. So we hosted July 7th. We had a trial up here. My dogs enjoy it, but more importantly, the people that are coming out have been enjoying it as well.
Cool.
I'm also very involved with the Canine Works and Game Scent Detection, so I'm a judge and a host with that. And what else? CKC Scent Detection, I'm a judge there. And then the newest one is Happy Ratters. I'm a judge and a host for Happy Ratters, which I totally love.
Cool.
I'm probably forgetting something, but that's where we started.
So all sniffy things all the time.
Yep, everything's sent.
Yes. So is there any particular reason that you would love any of the scent games more than anything else?
Um, I think it's just because it's something that pretty much any dog can participate in. I like things that provide an even playing field.
Mhm.
Um, as you probably know yourself from training, you get the dog that can barely come into the building, and within 2 or 3 weeks, they're pulling the handler into play scent games, whether it's in a building or outside. I think is really cool. I have a group of senior citizens. They're all over the age of 70, but their dogs are quite young, middle to young. So I have everything from a 1 year old all the way up to dogs that are 6 or 7 years old. But they're just a very dynamic group, which I absolutely love. And their MO is all about just doing something with their dogs, right? And so they are all of different abilities, and their dogs are all of different breeds. And so that's really fun because they just have a different perspective. In the Kamloops area, there aren't, in the past few years, many people who want to compete. So when you're setting up and you're running a business, you've got to tap into what your clientele want. And on the Lower Mainland, there's tons of opportunity to trial, and people want to trial. Like that's part of their reason of getting into dog sport. But up here, a lot of them just want something to do with their dogs. It's not about the ribbons, the bows, the cues, the titles, any of those kind of things. It's about just finding something fun to do with their dogs. So the opportunity in the way I run my classes is very different than when I did on the Lower Mainland. But things are turning around, and there's more people now wanting to compete, which is kind of cool. So now I offer classes for those that want to compete with a bit of a different focus,
Right.
and those who just want to play. And they can still play in things like the CWAG leagues and those kind of things because they're low risk opportunity. They're never going to break their dog versus something like SDDA, the Scent Detection Dog Association in Canada. My dogs compete in all those too. But at the end of the day, it's about how many ribbons, and it seems to be how well you did and how fast you are. And, up here, I have ribbons and bows for people who are like the slowest, but had the best time.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's more important to them. Or during COVID, we had the one with the best mask, and just fun things, right? To keep
Yeah.
them enticed and going. So I find scent work for the most part, and barn hunt and happy ratters too, is because there's only one dog working at a time and everybody else is away. And there's all these safe distances and things that are put in place to make sure the dogs are safe and the handlers are safe. And if it takes them 5 minutes to walk into the facility to participate, we're okay with that up here.
Yeah.
We're down in the Lower Mainland or other places where they're really competitive, which is fine. There's a place for both, but they want more dogs to go through at a faster pace, and we're just a little bit more laid back here. That's all.
Yeah. Same here.
They still want to participate with the dogs and play, which is really the end of the day. That's the piece, right?
Yeah.
So my focus has changed a lot from moving up here and offering things to keeping my business going and offering different dog sport.
Cool. So let's move into the organization. What can you tell us about Happy Ratters?
Okay, well, let me tell you about Happy Ratters. It's a new organization to Canada. And back at the end of the June, both myself and another organization out of the Kelowna area worked together to put on a trial. So Okanagan Rat Pack hosted the trial, and then another colleague and I are judging, along with a couple of their individuals. And so they put on a 2-day trial. We basically had 4 trials within those 2 days. And the 4 of us were judging, and this is the start of the process. But the thing I like about Happy Ratters is, again, it taps into your dog's natural prey ability. So there are 3 components to it. Your dog has to find the rat. The rat is in a special container, and I'll explain that after. They have to get all 4 feet basically on the bridge at some point. So they can do the front 2 and then the back 2, or the back 2 and back onto it. You can have them sit on it. Any of those things are fine. And that bridge is considered a bridge, and they get points for each thing. And the
Okay.
other piece is to go through a tunnel. But right now in the beginner lower levels, the tunnel is only 3 feet long, and it's an agility tunnel, and it's secured and you can see through it, etc. So those are the 3 pieces basically that you need.
Cool.
So we call the tunnel a burrow, we call the bridge a bridge, and we call the rat the rat. And you get points for each thing. And the most you can get in a run in the beginning levels, lower levels, is 110 points. So if you do all those things within your timeline, you get 100 points. But if your dog and you are having a really great time doing it, and your dog is independently searching, the judge can give you an extra 10 points. So
Cool.
you need 300 points for a title
Cool.
at any level. So it's a fairly easy thing. Now, in Happy Ratters, they're searching amongst clean garbage. So we have bags full of newspaper. We have bags full of old clothing. We have garbage bins that are clean. We have a ton of boxes. Just it looks like the back alley of somebody's, apartment block, basically.
I was thinking
It's
that
all,
sounds like my garage.
yeah, exactly. The other thing is it's all fenced in. So again, one dog searches at a time. You run them off leash, and they basically do what they know best, which is go and search, trying to find the smell of the rat. Now, it's not quite that simple because there's also a couple of decoys. So there's one that's empty, a container that's empty, and there can be a container that has rat litter in it, fresh litter. So it smells like a rat, but it's not the living, breathing rat.
Right. Okay.
In BC here, we've agreed to use a type of ammunition container because it has a safety lock on it. And it's also got holes where you can put zap straps to make sure that if the dog does pop the lid, it can't open because of the zap straps. And then there's a gazillion holes built into it, drilled through so that the rat can breathe and be safe. They do have a rat union, so the rats have a specific set of guidelines, like they can only work for an hour at a time, and then you've got to swap them out. You have to have them in the summer in an air conditioned area so they're kept cool. In the winter they have to be kept warm, all those kind of things. And so it's just a matter of like I said, I have 7 boys, and I swap them out, and they're super happy to go in and play. Like they're bred for the sport
Right.
of either barn hunt or happy ratters, and they'll go into the containers. One will come out as I'm opening it up to let one into the bin. The other one's jumping in, or they both all try and get in the same bin at the same time. I mean, it's really quite funny, but there are different components to it. So Happy Ratters is all about the amount of fun you have with your dog while they're searching and finding the rats, which is a great philosophy, right? It doesn't matter if you get 100 points because you can get bonus points just for having a good time with your dog. The other thing is you can take a treats in with you.
Cool.
So you can wear a treat pouch. Your dog goes over the bridge. You can give them a treat. You call your dog to you because you want them to refocus. You can give them a treat. They find the rat. You hand the rat off in its container to the rat wrangler, which is a person that looks after the rats to get them out of the ring. You can give your dog a treat to keep them focused on you. If they go through the tunnel, you can party and give them a treat. I mean, honestly, your dogs are going to have a great time doing this because one, who doesn't like a good treat, right? The other piece that I like, and again, it's only one dog in the ring at the time, but you don't have to wait with a bunch of other dogs in a small tent waiting your turn to come in. You can space them so they're 15 or 20 feet apart. If you have tents outside, you can have, one dog in tent 1 and another dog 30 feet away in tent 2 because they're not in that same tight space. Whereas in barn hunt, you have 5 to 6 dogs in the same tent before they put the rats out. So it's just a different application. But the whole premise behind Happy Ratters is the happy part. You got to have a good time with your dog. And the other piece that I really personally appreciate is pretty much any dog can play. I mean, a dog that's people aggressive, no. But if you have a dog that's blind, if you have a dog that's deaf, if you have a tripod, if you have a dog with wheels, all of them can participate. It's very cool. It's one of the few prey driven sport where a dog can actually play, and it doesn't, like, those aren't things that would hold them back. So at our Happy Ratters in June, we had a lady who has an older female, I think it's a female, who's blind, little Jack Russell, and she snaps her fingers and talks to her. And she actually completed the course, got a title, the whole 9 yards. And it was
Nice.
the coolest thing to watch. Like the party, the direction, the dog working, her talking to the dog talking back. But it was just the coolest thing to watch. And I was privileged enough to be able to videotape and watch that live. And it was just the best feeling. And I wasn't even running the dog, right? Like I wasn't judging or any of that. I was just in awe of what a great bond these two folks had together with, the dog and the owner, right? So that's really what the sport's about. The other thing I like about Happy Ratters is not only do they have a titling program, they have about 15 or 16 other games that you can play. And they're all really well laid out. So it's just a matter of
Cool.
whatever your organization wants to offer, right? And so for that, I'm like, oh, this is a great idea. So there's lots of opportunity to expand, but more importantly, it's just about the amount of fun you have with your dog. And how can that be a bad thing, right?
Cool.
Yeah.
Can you explain one or two of the games for us?
So one of the games that we offer and we'll be offering here in the trial in June next year is called Dump Hunt. And Dump Hunt is basically you go into the ring with your dog and there's a starting block or a starting mat. It's 4x4 and your dog and you have to be on that mat to start for any of the ratting games. So whether it's Barn Hunt or Happy Ratters. When everything's secure, then you're told you can release your dog and you can send them off. So Happy Ratters Dump Hunt is basically there's no bridge or burrow and there's no tunnel required. All you have to do is get your dog to find the rat in the cage buried amongst the stuff, usually along a wall. And you have 2 minutes for them to find one rat. There's no decoys, there's no nothing. It's just a rat. So they go in, you are stuck to stay on the mat, and you got to get your dog to work away from you. So if you've ever done scent rangers in CWAGs or any of that for scent detection, it's very similar, except they're searching for the rat. Now, some of them get distracted and all the stuff and they time out, but in most cases, they find the rat, no problem. So that's 5 feet away is level 1, 10 feet away is level 2, and 15 feet away is level 3.
Cool.
So it's a great opportunity. And like I said, this little dog that she worked with that doesn't see, is totally visually impaired, was able to go in and find the rat after a couple of tries to work away from the handler, where the handler can kind of redirect with voice or with snapping. And so we're all pretty excited when the dog actually did this and got their first cue in this Dump Hunt. So that's just one of many games, but they have a whole whack of them. And if you go on to the Happy Ratters website, again, it's a one-time fee. You get a number for your dog. It's yours for life. Right, so it's pretty basic, and then they keep track of all your information. Yeah, there you go, Happy Ratters. Yeah, and it's basically, it started out in the beginning, for people who own barns and animals that wanted to rid their farms of vermin is how it started, but then it became a game. And so again, the whole idea behind it is the amount of fun that you have with your dog and the safety of the rats, right?
Cool. It looks like so much fun. So
It's
yeah,
very
there's
fun.
lots of information on here. I will do up a course for those of you that are in the membership on how to apply and all of those things.
Yeah, and under recent posts, you can say new game is the Silent Hunt, so that's a new one, and they have a new game of Boxer Rat. So I'd have to look those up to see what they are, but
Yeah.
as long as you have enough space and you have a minimum of 4 feet high for the gates all the way around for the safety of the dogs, you'll get some dogs who want to jump, right?
Right.
But most of them don't. I mean, once they understand they're coming in and they're tapping into their prey drive, they can't wait to get off the mat and start hunting. It's very cool to watch. And just about every breed participates. So as long as you can get them through the agility-sized tunnel,
Right.
you can see that it's a fun game. So over 6 months old, they have to be, and it's really about supporting the dog themselves. So if you look at any of the other pieces under dog eligibility and restrictions, if they're stressed out and you have a thunder shirt on them, they can run in a thunder shirt, right?
Cool.
For dogs who are impaired either visually or hearing, they can actually wear a harness in the ring, whereas your dogs are supposed to run naked, right?
Okay.
So all those are really good. Dogs in heat can compete. They have to wear their pants. They run at the end, which is pretty typical for a lot of dog sports now.
Yeah.
And just the amount of fun that you have. It's really focused on the happy part of Happy Ratters.
Cool. Do you have any videos or anything from the runs that we could maybe share with people after this?
Sure, I could send some to you. Yep,
Okay.
for sure.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to get a bit of a look because I haven't seen it.
It's just an easy sport to offer. I mean, everybody has to start somewhere, and once they are introduced to the rats and they understand that there's a rat in this type of container and the container can be hidden, so again, taps into their ability to sniff. Once they figure that piece out, then they're totally into it. I mean, I did ratting with Blues because my boy is totally a prey-driven, high-functioning energy dog to burn him out. But I got to tell you, when he first met the rats, he was absolutely out of control. He went from Mach 20 to from 0 to Mach 20 in a blink. It was all I could do to hold on to his leash. So then you have to learn how to balance that. But he's learned that in the last couple of years between Barn Hunt and Happy Ratters. I mean, like I said, we have 7 rats that live in our house. And in the beginning, he laid outside their bedroom door and snuffled and snarled and growled and barked and scratched at the door because he wanted in.
Right.
And now they're back upstairs in their own bedroom, or they're at the lake house in their own bedroom, etc. And I'll go in and feed them, and he'll come in with me, and he'll, his eyes get really big, and I'm like, no, go out of the room. And then he kind of looks and sees what I'm doing, and he's fine. But he'll go in and check the cages when I'm, moving them outside for a bit of fresh air, and he'll check their cages and just make sure, there aren't some treats there that he should have, that they shouldn't have. It's very funny. But, and they eat well. Like, they get fresh fruit and vegetables and their kibbles and little things along the way. So when you shave your carrots, all those shavings, the rats will eat those. And they bob for frozen blueberries. I love those in the winter, and raspberries. They're very smart. They're learning to do agility, but it's a slow process. Not all of them are good at it, but it's
like you have way more patience than I do.
Rats are super social. They like to be picked up. They like to be snuggled. I mean, I don't sit and watch TV with them because I think that would put Blues over the edge.
Right.
But I do spend time with them each day, and we do enrichment games with them. I mean, they learn to open things and crawl through things. And yes, they're very smart. I built them little condos out of cardboard boxes from sniffing glasses and trials. And yeah, you'd be amazed how much stuff you can reuse when you have rats.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
I'm like, I might need to get some at some point here, but
you never know. The downside is people don't want to look after them when you go away. It's hard to get somebody to come into your house to watch them,
right,
or to look after them. But thankfully, I have a student, a nosework student, and when their kids were young, they had rats, and she actually gave me my first rat cage when I was getting rats. And so my rats all went up there when I was away for a couple of weeks for work in May. They went to the stay and play at Sundays, which was
nice.
their home. And she played games with them every day too. So it was a lovely fit, but it's not something you can do every week, right? So you just have to balance your time. But Happy Ratters, I would say, is a great place to start.
Oh,
It's somewhat different from barn hunt, but it certainly is something you can achieve. If you have a closed-in carport or a closed-in um, area for your car that you could put gating around, you could certainly use that as your setup. All the rules and dimensions of the different levels are already laid out for you, so that part's good.
cool.
I mean, it's expensive in the sense of ribbons and bows because those things cost a lot more money. But to introduce a new sport to your dog and just have some fun playing it, by all means, Happy Riders is a great opportunity because everybody has, yard bags, and to get a garbage bag and fill it and stuff it full of paper, or have, empty shoe boxes and stuff around. I mean, it's really easy to pull those pieces together for sure. And
Yeah.
and it's fun.
I
Yeah.
mean, for me personally, I've been interested in barn hunt for a lot of years, but I'm allergic to like hay and straw. So I'm like, do I want to do
Yeah.
it? Because there's a lot of that in there.
There is, and my girl, when she's hunting, it's only happened in probably the last year, but she'll stick her head in, and you can see there's a container there, but it might be a decoy, right? In
Right.
barn hunt, and she'll sneeze, and then she'll come off and go someplace else, and then she'll sneeze there, and I'm like, what is this? Your new alert? You're gonna sneeze on the rats? Like, I don't know. So then I'd send her back where she was, and she'd give me her alert, and I'd call it. But there's other times where she'll sneeze, and it's not the rat, right? So certainly in Happy Ratters, absolutely, that piece is taken out of the layout because it's clean garbage. And as long as you have some sort of kind of carpeting on the floor so the dogs don't slip on the floor,
Right.
you're golden, because they really do want to play, and they totally get it when they walk in. They're like, I know where I am. And you can rent a place to put your garbage out if you have the portable fences. So getting a haul or something isn't quite as bad as trying to
Right.
say, could I have your haul? And, oh yeah, I'm bringing in 60 bales of hay. Right?
And some rats.
Yeah. Well, in Happy Rudders, the layout of the information, if you're going to host a trial, etc., is pretty well laid out. Like the rules and regulations are pretty well laid out, and they give you a time formula, etc., so you know how many you can run in a day. But if you're running 2 rings, so obviously you have more opportunity. Yeah, it's fun, and like anything else, you can turn a fan on and it changes the odor picture for the dog, whether it's a rat or birch or anise or wintergreen or whatever it happens to be.
Yeah.
So it's very exciting. And between that and the CDSA scent, those are kind of the 2 areas we're really focusing on here in
Cool.
Kamloops. We do a lot of sea wags, but that's just a good stepping stone for some of those other scent trials. And
Yeah.
yeah, and people are enjoying the Happy Ratters. So, like I said, June 1st, 2024, we'll be
Cool.
hosting a big trial up here. We'll have 4 judges, at least four rings. So, there'll be lots of
Nice.
opportunity. Got lots of parking. We've got a kitchen for food. It's a great venue.
I
It's
need to
already
come.
booked. So. Yeah. And I figured, the 1st of June is before grads, and the road should be decent by then, and we'll
Yeah.
have lots of opportunities. So we're trying to keep
Cool.
it light and fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like a really fun sport to try. I'm excited to try.
I'll send you some videos. You can see the difference between the girl and the boy, and I probably have some couple others, but I'll see if I can send them to you for you to use. Yeah.
Sounds good. Um, so I can't think of anything else right now. If everybody that watches this come up with your questions, we'll have Arlie back in a few weeks to do a live Q&A if there's questions. I know
Okay.
it's summer, so people are not necessarily around. So if we end up waiting till September, we can do that too. Just like let me know what you want.
Sure.
Yeah, and any last words to tell us? Not last words, but you know what I mean?
I think for Happy Ratters, as long as you have somebody who has maybe 4 rats and they're willing to use them for the sport, they really are kept safe. I mean, both Barn Hunt and Happy Ratters is really all about the safety of the rats and the dogs, but the rats actually take higher priority. Um, anybody that's taken a class with me and has seen the rats will know that they're happy to be in their containers. It's not a stressful thing for sure. And then if you do decide to take on happy ratters, then we can send you the information on the ammunition cases, etc. So it's consistent throughout BC.
Cool.
But I think it's something like for me personally, I offer happy ratters from October to April, and then barn hunt usually May, June, depending if I can secure a barn. But it's a lot easier to secure a haul, so the opportunity is a lot better for students. And as you said, for all those same reasons, no allergies, and your dogs, you don't have to brush the hay out and etc. Having said that, my dogs are still competing in barn hunt because they love it.
Yeah.
They both really enjoy it. And, as long as they're having a good time, I will take them and we will do what we need to do to keep them going. But overall, locally, for me, the Happy Ratters is just a really great fit.
Cool.
It's easy, and people will help you move things because they're boxes and newspapers. They're not super heavy. We're getting people to move bales of hay to reconstruct, etc. is a lot more work.
Right.
Physical work, so you don't get quite as many volunteers. But overall, it's super fun. It is really fun.
Cool. June 1st, I'm going to be there. I got to remember.
Yes, I will send you information you can send out to your clientele for sure. But
sounds good. Yeah, definitely sounds like fun, and can't wait to see more videos. And and we will end this. And so people get your questions. You can ask them in the group if you want before the Q&A, just in case we wait till September to have a Q&A, because nobody seems to be around much in the summer. We're all busy playing.
Well, and if they want to check out any of those pieces, I always post them to my Facebook, which is the letter K, number 9, fun, space, capital N for nose, space, games. And if you pop on there, you'll see all sorts of videos, and it includes barn hunt, but there's a lot of happy ratters as well. You'll see some intros, and you'll see some actual video from even the trial, the fun match that we held locally as well. So
yeah, I'll put all the links in the course section for everybody, and all your links and stuff. So exciting.
And you've got the website, so you should be good.
Yep. Sounds good. Thank you for coming on.
Up there.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun.
I appreciate you doing this interview. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for coming.
Okay. Have a great day, guys.
You too.